6:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The morning news edited by Danushka Madhavala, read by Soundithabam. The 2022 New Year has dawned with the hopes of fulfilling all the wishes of the Sri Lankans and the people of the entire world. The President has called on everyone to make 2022 a transformational year, dedicating to realizing the vistas of prosperity and splendor for the people. The Prime Minister says we must all be determined to overcome the challenges of the future with strength, inspired by the difficult experiences of life. The Mahasangha appreciated the services rendered by the government and the health officials to protect the people from the pandemic. The number of dengue patients has doubled in the last 2 months. A new set of health guidelines has been issued. Sri Lanka has detected 41 new cases of the Omicron variant. In world news, the WHO chief optimistic disease will be beaten in 2022. The 2022 New Year has dawned with the hopes of fulfilling all the wishes of the Sri Lankans and the people of the entire world. Many countries are yet to celebrate the dawn of the New Year. Sri Lankans celebrated the New Year in many areas of the country in various forms. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has called on everyone to make 2022 a transformational year, dedicating to realizing the vistas of prosperity and splendor for the people. The President in his New Year message said that the dawn of the New Year instinctively inspires us to look to the future with optimism and determination. Therefore, we must welcome the year 2022 with great enthusiasm and anticipation. The President added that we need to reflect on the impact the past year has had on the country and society, and he believes that this should be with a resolution for future prosperity. The President further said that he is confident that the New Year will provide an opportunity to further the steps taken by the government to pursue and overcome challenges and strengthen the people-centric economy. The economy and livelihoods that have all been adversely affected by the prevailing pandemic will be further safeguarded. We will be able to implement the plans for this purpose under the new normal. We must move towards prosperity with self-confidence, dedication and unity. In this regard, the challenges we have overcome, as well as the experiences we have gained, will inspire us in the new year. The global pandemic has adversely affected the progress of realizing the expectations of the people. Nevertheless, national security and coexistence have been further consolidated at present. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa said in his New Year message that the New Year 2022 has dawned with good wishes and aspirations for all. At the dawn of the New Year, we must all be determined to overcome the challenges of the future with strength, inspired by the difficult experiences of life. The Prime Minister's message said that with the global pandemic, Sri Lanka has faced many challenges over the past year. He gratefully acknowledged the sacrifices made by all as a nation to overcome these social and economic challenges. The Chief Prelate of the Askiriya chapter, Most Venerable Varakagoda Sri Jnanaratna Thera, issuing a New Year message, says that at this juncture, subsequent to the end of a challenging year and the dawn of a new year, all should wish to unite and come out of the crisis. He made this statement while wishing everyone a happy new year. The Chief Prelate of Askiriya said that the government and the health sector had worked hard to control the spread of the corona and that everyone, irrespective of race, religion or party, should unite to overcome this plague. The Anunayak of the Malwata chapter, Most Venerable Dimbulkumbure Vimala Dharmathera, said that the new year is a challenging one and that if more strikes and protests continue this year, the country will not be able to avoid going further into an abyss. He said that the country faced many challenges last year and as a result the country fell behind in many areas. The Venerable Anunayaka Thera made this statement while issuing a message of good wishes for the new year. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
Sri Lanka Insurance Motor Plus, the best option.
The director of the National Dengue Control Unit, Dr. Sudat Samaravira, said, although the number of dengue deaths in 2021 has decreased, the number of dengue patients has doubled in the last 2 months of November and December. It has been identified that the risk of dengue has increased in about 15 districts. He added that the risk of dengue is likely to increase in the future as well. With the opening of offices and schools as usual in the new year, every city institution should prepare an annual dengue control plan. There is a risk of the spread of dengue in urban as well as rural areas. Disposed materials such as rain gutters, tanks, tires, toilet systems, tree trunks, indoor water tanks and construction sites help breeding of dengue mosquito larvae. Since household hygiene is important to combat this condition, it should be a daily routine to find and clean dengue breeding grounds and destroy mosquito larvae. Mosquito larva control should be done using approved pesticides, which should be applied according to the proper standards. The Ministry of Health has issued a new set of health guidelines for the public and work-related activities effective from the 1st to the 31st of January 2022. Issuing a new set of guidelines, the Director General of Health Services, Dr. Asela Gunawardena, said, although a significant control of the COVID-19 epidemic in the country has been achieved, there is still a risk for escalation in COVID-19 transmission due to cluster formation. Proper adherence to these directions has given more responsibility to the medical officers of health in those areas for regulation and monitoring at the ground level. The contribution and active engagement of the relevant ministries is very important to create the intersectoral relationship and awareness needed to support this task successfully. The Director General of Health Services, being the proper authority for the whole of Sri Lanka, emphasised that contributing to the control of COVID-19 is the responsibility of every citizen as well as every governmental, non-governmental and private institution. Under the new guidelines, sports activities are allowed but no spectators permitted. Tuition classes can be held from grade 5 and above with 50% of the usual capacity. That concludes local news.
In 200 meters, turn left.
This is not just my daily commute. I drive to power my nation's future.
Sri Lanka Insurance Motor Plus introduces specialized motor insurance for you who drive our nation forward. Choose tailor-made insurance solutions, up to 75,000 rupees claim settlements within 3 working hours, exclusive discounts through Motor Plus loyalty rewards, easy and 0% interest payment plans.
Only from Sri Lanka Insurance.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
According to the Epidemiology Unit of the Health Ministry, 499 new COVID-19 cases were reported on the last day of the year 2021. According to the Epidemiology Unit, a total of 587,245 COVID-19 cases have been reported since the beginning of the pandemic. Sri Lanka Friday reported 17 deaths, raising the total to 14,979. According to the Epidemiology Unit report, so far, 15,991,500 people have received the first dose of a COVID-19 vaccine and 13,843,044 have received the second dose. In addition, 4,006,720 have received the third booster dose and came to you in the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Moving on to Watchlight, the Director of the Department of Immunology and Molecular Medicine at the Sri Jayawardenepura University, Dr. Chandima Jeevandara, says Sri Lanka has detected 41 new cases of the Omicron variant. This brings the total number of Omicron cases to 45. Dr. Jeevandara said the booster dose of the COVID vaccine is a priority to prevent the disease. He urged the public to take the third booster dose without delay, and that came to you in Watchlight. Moving on to a bulletin of world news. In the headlines this morning, the WHO chief optimistic disease will be beaten in 2022. Tens of thousands evacuated as Colorado wildfires spread. Cries for help and food in quarantined Chinese city Xi'an. The World Health Organization chief says he is optimistic that the coronavirus pandemic will be defeated in 2022, provided countries work together to contain its spread. Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus warned against narrow nationalism and vaccine hoarding in a New Year's statement. His comments come 2 years since the WHO was first notified of cases of an unknown pneumonia strain in China. Global COVID cases now stand at 287 million, while nearly 5.5 million people have died. Across the world, people are marking the New Year, but celebrations are muted, with many countries wanting to discourage crowds gathering. Coronavirus remains part of daily life, a disease that has shut borders, split families, and in some places made it unthinkable to leave the house without carrying a mask. Some residents under lockdown in the Chinese city of Xi'an say they do not have enough food, even as officials insist there are adequate supplies. More than 13 million were ordered to stay at home last week as authorities sought to battle a COVID outbreak. But compared to other lockdowns globally, locals cannot go out even for essential reasons like buying food. The government is delivering supplies, but many on social media say they are yet to receive them and are struggling. The lockdown in the northern city of Xi'an is in its 9th day. The city's outbreak is the worst China has seen in months amid its zero-COVID strategy. Tens of thousands of people have been evacuated and nearly 1,000 homes have been destroyed as wildfires spread through the U.S. state of Colorado. The fast-moving blazes are burning in Boulder County, north of Denver. Governor Jared Polis called it the New Year Eve's miracle that no deaths had been reported. Some 30,000 people in the towns of Louisville and Superior were told to leave their homes on Thursday. A state of emergency has been declared. To conclude this bulletin of world news, the headlines again. The WHO chief optimistic disease will be beaten in 2022. Tens of thousands evacuated as Colorado wildfires spread. And cries for help and food in quarantined Chinese city Xi'an. That concludes this bulletin of world news.
Development News is brought to you by Let's take coal out of the coconut tree and make the island thriving and prosperous. Call our hotline 1928. WhatsApp 070 400 1928.
The Embassy of Sri Lanka in Beijing, in collaboration with the Sri Lankan Airlines, met with the Chinese travel industry representatives recently. Sri Lanka's ambassador to China, Dr. Palitha Kohana, drew their attention to the unique experiences Sri Lanka offers. Ambassador Kohana noted that Sri Lanka's non-traditional attractions were highlighted, such as indigenous medicine, adventure opportunities including rafting, water skiing, kite surfing, trekking, ballooning, whale watching, elephant riding and safaris of interest to the young travellers. Sri Lanka is blessed with lush greenery and warm weather throughout the year. He expected that more Chinese tourists would visit Sri Lanka when the Chinese border control measures were relaxed. He said that the embassy has already initiated discussions with several Chinese airlines to improve their air connectivity between the two countries. He hopes to meet with all major tour operators in the future and came to you in Development News.
Development News was brought to you by the coconut tree is well grown in almost all the parts of the island. It is an exceptional source of extra income. The shell, the husk and almost all the parts of the coconut tree makes you money, providing you with an excellent extra source of income. It will also help to nourish the economy of the country. You will be guided with all necessary informations regarding the coconut cultivation, with the novel cultivation techniques and all other related and upgraded informations by the Coconut Research Institute, Lunavilla. Call our hotline 1928. WhatsApp 070 400 1928.
On to sports news. South Africa's wicket-keeper batter Quinton de Kock, 29, has retired from Test cricket to spend more time with his family. De Kock and his wife Sasha are expecting their first child soon. De Kock made his Test debut in 2014 and scored 3,300 runs at an average of 38.82, scoring 6 centuries and 22 50s in 54 matches. He apologised for making himself unavailable for a match in October's T20 World Cup, rather than obey an instruction from Cricket South Africa that all players should take the knee as a gesture in support of racial equality and justice. That's sports news. We look at business news next.
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
The Energy Minister Gamman Pilla says that 24 tanks out of the 99 tanks in the Trincomalee oil tank farm will be directly managed by the CPC, 14 by Lanka IOC. Meanwhile, 61 other tanks are expected to be developed by the newly established Trinco Petroleum Terminals Limited and Lanka IOC as a joint venture, the minister revealed. The minister said, thereby, the CPC will have the control of 85 of these tanks. Sri Lanka plans to further lease out the 14 Lanka IOC-operated oil tanks at the Trincomalee oil tank farm to the same company for 50 more years, Energy Minister Udaya Gammanpilla said. That's business news. Economic news up next.
Business news sponsored by
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Economic news, courtesy of...
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
In recognition of their high-quality financial reporting, 12 public sector institutions received gold awards at the Best Annual Report and Accounts Awards 2021, organised by the Association of Public Finance Accountants of Sri Lanka, the public sector wing of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Sri Lanka. The 12 main winners represented 9 categories spanning universities, research institutes, statutory boards, departments, provincial councils, ministries, urban councils, municipal councils and Pradeshia Sabhas. That came to you in economic news.
I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
In the weather report, showers or thundershowers will occur at times in the northern, north central, eastern and Uva provinces and in the Matale, Nuwara and Hambantota districts. Showers or thundershowers will occur at several places elsewhere during the evening or night. Fairly heavy showers above 50 millimeters can be expected at some places in the northern, eastern, Sabragamo and central provinces and in the Kalutara, Galle and Matara districts. Misty conditions can occur in the western, Sabragamo and central provinces and in the Galle and Matara districts during the morning. To conclude this bulletin of news, a recap of the headlines. The 2022 New Year has dawned with the hopes of fulfilling all the wishes of the Sri Lankans and the people of the entire world. The President has called on everyone to make 2022 a transformational year, dedicating to realizing the vistas of prosperity and splendor for the people. The Prime Minister says we must all be determined to overcome the challenges of the future with strength, inspired by the difficult experiences of life. The Mahasangha appreciated the service rendered by the government and health officials to protect the people from the pandemic. The number of dengue patients has doubled in the last 2 months. A new set of health guidelines has been issued. Sri Lanka has detected 41 new cases of the Omicron variant. And the WHO chief optimistic disease will be beaten in 2022. That concludes this morning's news broadcast. And before I hand you back to your host, Victor Raj, well, let me wish you, Victor, and all the listeners a very happy, prosperous, healthy and blessed 2022.